What's going on, Conscious Crew? It's your favorite breakdown commentator, CTV. Welcome to another riveting episode of the Consciouztv platform. You already see what we're here to talk about. Of course, I got an old nasty piece of special guests in the back room, child. We're going to be getting into some things. Before we do so, go ahead and hit that old nasty piece of thumbs up, because you guys know that thumbing up helps with YouTube algorithm, but more importantly, it triggers up YouTube notification system. So whether you are a part of the Replay Gang, you're actively in these YouTube streets with me right now, or you are a Bush baby, your thumbs up matter. Also, shout out to all the new subbies. Make sure that you all have your notification bell set to all, because you never know what day or hour the king shall be king. And then last but not least, please share the stream out to wherever it is you have digital media, whether that is your YouTube community wall, your Facebook, your MySpace, the dark side of Twitter, Tumblr, or your personal OF. I don't really give a damn where you lay the link to set them whores. Know that we're loud, live, and in color. And with no further ado, let's go ahead and push on through.
I know a place where you can recharge your soul.
Baby, that's Consciouztv.
And in the midst of brokenness, he gon' see your asshole.
Baby, that's Consciouztv.
You gon' heal, you gon' laugh and catch a little shade.
Ooh, girl.
Y'all know he be slaying, y'all better stop playing. Come hear what he's saying.
Ladies and gentlemen.
All right, let me speak to the Conscious Crew who in the building right now. What's going on, Kiwana? Hey, Ian Gardner. What's going on, Star? What's going on, Keeney? BS Speaks, Corn Silk. Shout out to Ocean City, Maryland. What's going on, Shayla? Hey, Rovonda. Hey, Latoya. Hi, y'all. Happy Sunday. Let me go ahead and bring up my ninja knocked out motherfucking media. What's going on, soon to be father?
Yeah, what's going on, man?
We're gonna be around here calling you daddy, literally very soon.
Yeah, the actual title. Yeah, no, it's
right.
crazy.
Man, it seems like y'all only 15 seconds away. I feel like we're waiting any day now, to be honest.
No, yeah. Due date is the 19th, so we're like
of this month.
Yeah.
That is fucking, so it literally is any day now.
Any day, yeah.
Like it could be within the next 30 damn minutes.
Honestly, like at any point, any moment in time.
Yeah, because once you're this close to your due date, I mean, this isn't even considered what they call it? What they call it when the baby comes early?
Premature.
Yeah, like this wouldn't even be considered premature, right? If he came 9 days early.
I believe once you get outside of 35 weeks, that's when they consider you to be like the baby to be a term baby, but anything before it would be considered premature.
I don't consider this motherfucking broccoli been done. That
Yeah.
baby's baked, honey. Lil Knockout is baked. How do you feel? I mean, what does it feel like to not only be anticipating your son, your firstborn, but to be doing that inside of an active relationship, like literally the start of your own little family?
Man, I mean, don't get me wrong, it comes with its challenges, but I really feel like, this was my purpose. You know what I mean? Like, I think I had like kind of gone a lot through my life, like questioning it, and then now I feel like, okay, well, this was what it was all for. And then considering what happened in August, like it's kind of like I know this is what I'm here for now. So I'm really just ready for it. Like I've been really just anxious. Like I haven't really experienced like nervousness. You know what I'm saying? I just really just been ready for him to come out. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, shout out to you and Mrs. Knockout Media. I am so looking forward and excited to be a auntie, and I cannot wait until this ball of energy come through, because I know he gonna wear y'all asses out.
Man, we're about to get a whole lot of karma back, especially because his mom was on fire when it came to her mom, and then like having a little boy is gonna be a little challenge, but I'm ready for it. I'm ready for all the happy moments too.
Yeah, absolutely. We're gonna have to come back and throw a little like virtual baby shower for y'all and show y'all some love. Even though I know y'all stacked and packed over there, but you can never be too stacked and too packed.
No, especially him. So when she went in for her 36-week checkup, he was already weighing in at like 7 pounds, or like they measure her stomach and then they do. Yeah, he was already weighing in at 7 pounds. So it's like all the newborn stuff. I feel like we're finna just fly through all that stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like we already like a year or two ahead in sizes. Like he coming through with big boy energy.
Man, yes. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm about to bring you back for sure. Everybody saying that would be great, says Crystal. Yes, a virtual baby shower would be great. That part. Okay, so we're gonna do it then. Virtual baby shower. It is. We'll plan that. All right. So you guys know what we're here to talk about. This is a very dynamic, multi-layered subject matter. As you know, we both know as content creators that riding the wave of friendship and connectionship, with social media being like an aspect of that relationship, has been and can be on one hand rewarding and a strength, and it damn sure comes with its challenges. Now I know like I know that we've heard everything from there are no friends on the internet, don't come into the space thinking that you have friends, etc. And then you have people like you and I who maybe say that, well, that's not entirely true. But before we get into like the minutia of it, as my boy YB would say, what do you think in general about the notion of like developing friendship off social media, especially as content creators? Because when your peers are also content creators themselves, it's not like, oh, you sent a friend request on Facebook and y'all just follow each other online and then y'all saw each other out and became friends. But when the friendship entails y'all also both being influencers, do you think that works out more often than not, or doesn't work out more often than not? What is your thoughts on content creators and friendship?
I think it takes two genuine people like to start off with. Like, I think, and especially when it comes to like content creation, right? Because I feel like I feel like that label's kind of thrown around a lot lately, like just kind of loosely, and a lot of people who consider content to be like everything to be content, I wouldn't necessarily consider them to be a content creator, right? And usually those people are like the ones that are super messy, or that look for things in like the quote unquote relationship to expose later on.
Mm.
Whereas I think if you're a genuine person and like you're already approaching the situation sincerely, like if you meet somebody who's like-minded and y'all get along and y'all have like the same goals and stuff like that, I feel like a genuine friendship can be born out of that, right? And even in our case, right, like it wasn't even that, it was more so um a friendship kind of born out of like disagreement at first. And even though it's like we necessarily didn't see eye to eye, it was something that you saw me as like being somebody who wasn't just trying to come around trying to infiltrate or to gather content or whatever. Like I was actually coming around trying to be of some assistance or some help to somebody. So I think that's like part of the major difference in like our dynamic versus let's say a donut hole who's trying to come to you and essentially like grift and make money and try to make a name for himself off of you. you know I think those are two very different things. So um yeah, I think
Mhm.
essentially that's where it there's the mix up, or like it gets construed with the whole friendship thing, because those people they don't even know what a friendship would be if it slapped them in the face.
And you know what's so funny? Now that you say that, I wonder if me and your friendship would have, or if friendship would have even developed, or like what it would have looked like had it started off with and on the basis of convenience. Like a lot of influencers get to know each other just for the sake of proximity, for convenience, for leverage, for clout, etc. But as you said, like when you first came on, like you was trying to be of genuine assistance, and I was genuinely concerned with
Hmm.
you being around. And obviously both of those sincerities end up creating this. But had my approach been, well, hell, he could be of assistance. Let his ass test it up if that's what he want to do. Like, let him come in and da 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 da. Like, if I would have had a more superficial attitude toward you coming into the space, and I would have been quote unquote willing to play the game and just be okay with you being here because it could be of benefit to me. I wonder if this still would have happened.
Mm.
Because I think what might have contributed to this turning into a friendship was the fact that you genuinely felt motivated to a cause, and I genuinely was concerned about you as a person and that cause.
Mm. Man,
What do you
well,
think?
I definitely don't think that we would be where we're at now, like to where it's like years of friendship. You know what I'm saying? I could almost guarantee you, like at some point in time, very soon after us first meeting, I think there would have been like a fallout just based off of
Mm,
uh the shallow, kind of like gravity of the situation. If it were like a usatory type of thing, to where it's like, I'm coming to you trying to, get numbers or trying to grow my platform, and then you're looking at me as like, okay, cool, this is my crash out dummy. I
mm,
don't think it would have lasted, or I don't think it would have went past, the conversation that we had on IG facilitated by someone else. I really think that everything just would have kind of went left very fast.
mm. So speaking of that, do you regret coming in on the mission that you came in on.
Ooh.
Like when you when you sit back and look in retrospect, do you be like, man, that shit was totally not fucking worth it. Like I should have just found another space to be in. Like, what is your thoughts about whether you feel it was worth it or not, or just what your thoughts are?
I would say I have my regrets about certain people, but the whole situation, I think, kind of like I don't regret the whole situation because it did create a lot of like relationships that I would have probably never had I not, decided to make a video or like speak up or whatever the case, right? And I'm not even saying that in terms of like the people that I was quote unquote defending or whatever. I mean that in terms of like people I met like way after, just from me being somebody who was like associated with that, or somebody who's like met people through these other people or whatever. And like even me and your friendship, like I would say, again, that's like what, 4 years, 5 years of us being actual friends, you know what I mean? Like not for play, like we actually know each other in real life. So
yeah,
I really think that that whole situation, even though it was, excuse my language, some bullshit, and a lot of people involved were on a lot of bullshit, I'd say that I just regret kind of coming out so hard and aggressive, not knowing everybody involved, I guess you could say, and to the degree I should have known before I started stepping out, put my neck out there or whatever.
What if you're comfortable, like what have you assessed about people involved?
Some people just like that, man. I feel like a lot of people, some people are just, they just like drama, and they want to be associated with some type of like traumatic situation. And you and I both know there are some people who like sit in misery and they dwell in it, and they want other people to like be in that same misery with them. So it's like, they even still again 5 years ago, right, still these same people, saying some of the same stuff, like repeating some of the same things. And it's like, had they actually been able to like see from the outside of their funk, they would have saw that like you've been progressing, I've been progressing. Like the people that actually have like been away from that situation and I like gravitated away from it, like have actually grown like significantly. So I can't sit there and say that like anything about it is like it makes any sense. Like there's nothing there, I can't make sense of it. And like the people that were involved, it's like I just think that they just like that shit, and I don't know, it couldn't be me though. That's way too much bullshit.
Sound like you are explaining the trauma bond, like some people trauma bonding with the mess of
with
it all.
each other. And like some people are even trauma bonding with the people that are creating the trauma for them, which is the craziest thing. And I don't know, like I just never seen anything like that. And I could see why somebody would be like calling out for help and like saying, hey, like, hey, this person's been harassing me, this person's been doing da 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 to me or whatever. But then you go back and like try to make amends with them and say, hey, cool, like can we be cool at some point, it's whatever. And then you create space for them to just do it all again to you. And then you want to try to call cry wolf again and all that. I don't get it. I don't know.
Okay. All right. So then, okay, because now you're giving birth to questions that I got. Okay, so let's talk about that for a little bit then. Like, because I just spoke like a week or two ago about this whole like coming and going situation, and how a lot of real desperate diabolical, wickedly ridiculous stuff get done to people, and people put up with it sometimes for the sake of proximity and clout. Other people put up with it because they're just not confrontational. Other people put up with it because that's what they used to see in this space. Which is like, like the merry-go-round. It's just the same cycle again and again and again and again and again. And when you share sectors and you share spaces and you share individuals, sometimes you just keep running into each other. So to some people, it just makes sense to just eventually let bygones be bygones. However, for me, I am personally only extending such grace to people that I actually have a real relationship with. And I'm not just talking about people that have my number, because everybody who got my number I also don't consider a fucking friend. There's a lot of people I do business with who got my number too. There's acquaintances who have my number too. So it's not just being able to talk to me offline, but when I'm talking about like real substantive actual relationship, like I'm only willing to afford those type of mistakes and a certain degree of compassion and virtue to my actual friends, people that I actually consider my loved ones. I am not willing to go around and around and around, definitely anymore, with people I already don't have a significant tie to. But what do you think about that? Because, me and you have also had breakdown in our friendship related to online dynamics, like surviving online bullshit as friends who also are influencers and peers in this space. Like, what do you think about that? Like, do you think it should be a black and white? Like, is it a fool me once, off with your head? Or what is, like, how do you decide who you should work shit out with and who you should not work shit out with? Or what are your rules of engagement?
My best rule of thumb is I go based off of what I feel with a person. If somebody who's like, say, okay, like specifically with us, you've helped me even when like I didn't even ask for it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you've tried to look out for me when I'm like trying to figure things out and I don't even know it. It's like stuff like that. I feel like, when you actually notice it, and then once you actually like can have gratitude for that, I think that's what changes the dynamic. But I was just thinking, I was like, man, it makes it sound like a thing to where it's like, oh well, it depends on what you do for me, or it depends on how much you do for me or something like that. But I wouldn't even put it like that. I would say, obviously it's gonna be birthed out of, how much can I measure the friendship, and if it's something to where I feel like, you're holding back, or like you don't want to be a friend because of whatever reason, then I can't really stick my neck out for you either, so I think I measure it, just based off of like what we do for each other, how we look out for each other, which is really hard to do. But I don't know. Does that make sense though?
Yeah, because you're basically talking like situational as hell. Like it just comes down to the situation, the quality of the situation, and basically like what the person means to you, which is kind of essentially what I'm talking about too, which is it just comes down to meaningfulness. Like, if you don't mean shit to me, I don't give a fuck. Like, off with your head, I'm done. I don't give a damn how small or large content creators are. Like, I don't care about who people think people are. I don't care about none of that. Like, any bitch can get chopped. But if I actually have relationship to people, and people have been able to see me do this with large and smaller content creators alike, like if I fuck with somebody and I love somebody, like period, like I'm going to extend you the same grace that I would offline if shit happens, because in real life there's forgiveness. Like in real life shit happens. In real life there's altercations, there's fallouts. Like in real life there are violations. In real life, like in real life I make up with people. In real life relationships are not perfect, but when people love each other, you do work through the bullshit and the hard times and the whatever. So I don't, for me, like I don't compartmentalize my friends who happen to be content creators and kind of put them into a different category than I do the people that I know outside of social media. I extend the same level of love and time and attention and humanity that I would in real life. But that once again has to be based upon real friendship. So for instance, there's a content creator right now who everybody been like, CTV, I hope you have like, girl, I hope you ran, bitch. I hope you have ran and you never look back. I hope you are done. I hope you are done with this cycle. I hope you and this person are no longer friends. I hope there's, you know, like, da 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 da. And they're saying that because in the past they've seen me give grace several times throughout the friendship about things that have played out publicly, things that have played out throughout social media. They've seen the fallouts, they've seen the breakdowns, they've seen the makeups. But the reason why there were so many breakdowns and makeups is because that person I considered to be somebody that really meant something to me. It just so happened that there was a camera to the friendship, aka social media. You know, all my other relationships have gone through it as well. They just didn't become social media fodder. So I wasn't going to like act different and act like this person should not have been afforded some patience and should not have been afforded some compassion and should not have been afforded a certain level of virtue from me just because, you know, shit was playing out publicly. Because once again, the only difference is that friendship just went through breakdown in front of everybody versus all the other private relationships I have that have gone through what time together would take any connection through, which is ups and downs, and you learn how to be in relationship to each other as you endure each other, as you align with each other, you know. So I know throughout the makeup and breakups, a lot of people would be like, CTV, why, like, why, bitch, why you keep cracking the door, bitch, why you keep letting the door open? And I'm like, I'm just doing what I would have done offline, because I find it inconceivable and hard to believe that the people who were criticizing me for extending virtue are people who are sitting in friendships and connections and relationships that are just perfect and have never gone through anything. So if nobody is sitting currently right now in long-term relationships and meaningful friendships and connections that are perfect, that have gone without hiccup, that have gone without disruption, that have gone without disrespect, if nobody can attest to that, I mean, then obviously I'm no different, and I didn't do anything any differently than anybody else is doing who is deciding that somebody means something to them and is willing to work through whatever problems arrive until they're not. So my question to you is, like, do you think that, because I mean, you kind of just said that, you know, if a person means something to you, you basically are going to do the same thing. But do you think that shit happening in front of everybody is a different type of a problem or a different type of a violation than the shit that you would have forgave that took place in the privacy of that relationship offline to somebody who you're in relationship to?
I could definitely see a point into where publicly it can be like 10 times as worse because it is in front of people. I mean, nobody wants to be reflected badly at all, like in the public eye. But I think that realness, and I think the uh like the transparency really is kind of where like strength kind of grows out of that, because it could be a situation in where, you know, we're just totally ripping each other apart, you know, online. But I think people can respect public fallout, but then public apology and kind of like, you know, um repentance almost of that, you know, at least if one party is able to be accountable for, you know, whatever their part of it was, right? So um I think almost having it publicly is it's definitely worse, but I don't want to say it should make all the difference, because if your relationship is true, you'll be able to work past it.
Now, do you think some violations are like what do you consider is like a point of no return? Because I mean, in saying everything that I just said, I can also say to the audience, there were definitely things I forgave that were extreme. Now that I look back, they were extreme. I didn't realize how extreme they were until I looked back, because at the time it was big enough for it to cause an issue and a rift, but not big enough to cause a permanent crater in the situation. Maybe because I really prioritized the love at a greater level than I was trying to prioritize the offense, and that I was trying to prioritize the transgression. But now that that love has found a resting place, and that love is not there in the same capacity, and I can kind of see things for what they really are, some of the things I forgave, honestly, now that I look back, a part of me want to say shouldn't have been forgiven, that it should have been done when it was done. But I also know that it's difficult to make that type of a statement when you're talking about love, which covers a multitude of sin. Love is transcendent enough to forgive some really god-awful stuff. Some really god-awful stuff. Love has the capacity and the power and the authority to wipe clean of. But what I can say is that I will never forget. I will forgive, but I would never realign to anyone after such offenses again. That will be the end for me personally. Is there a, like, what I would call misdemeanor offenses versus felony offenses when it comes to some of this drama between content creators? Like, can you give me an example of like something that you can work through and something that would just be like it for you?
You can work through arguments. I think like you said, with any relationship, any friendship, you're gonna have arguments, you're gonna have disagreements. I think you can work through those. Now, when there starts to be like real drama, real beef, real just like, you know, dumb shit going on, I think that when one loses sight of like one another person's life, like their actual real life, like how it's gonna impact them, how it's gonna affect them, and like people start getting in bed with the people that are attacking these people, or these people that have like no regard when it comes to like, you know, this person's life or whatever, because they're like pretty much mortal enemies at this point, right? I think that teaming up with somebody and, you know, trying to give information or, you know, personal sensitive personal information to this person who's attacking somebody else, and, you know, you think that that's okay. I really don't agree with shit like that. I don't
So,
think that,
so no linking up with the ops.
pretty much, like, I really truly feel that, you know, once you decide you want to you know, go over to the other side and start like essentially helping out and being part of, or, you know, assisting in any type of way, that's a grave offense. That's something that you can't come back from, you know. I don't care how strong your relationship is. I really don't see how that, you know, can be a case.
Okay, so let's explore that a little bit, because that is, I feel like, a big contributor to why a lot of straw houses online get blown down, is because social media allows people to like orbit into people's spaces a lot, whether that's due to proximity because of content, shared content, mutual content that like brings people into proximity to each other, or whether it's just whatever. I feel like people, like, friendships with the wrong people could add a level of like uniqueness to navigating social media stuff too. And even look like, because like, how did you do the math on that, right? Like, even though me and you have talked about our situation publicly, like, how difficult is it to be friends with someone who is acquaintances or associates, or even friends with someone who you don't fuck with, or someone who you consider to be an open enemy?
I mean, it's gonna sound harsh, but I think it comes down to like um it comes down to a maturity aspect for both sides, right?
Mm.
Let's say, you know, you fuck with somebody I don't agree with or whatever, right? But you have no reason not to fuck with them. I think that, you know, on my side, I need to be mature enough to just accept that, you know, if you decide to be cool with them, you decide to be cool with them, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I think at the same time, you know, it's like if we have somebody who's, you know, we both fell out with, and it comes down to we fell out or whatever, and I decide to go, you know, team up with this person that doesn't like either one of us, you know what I mean? I feel like that's a different situation as well. So both are bad, both are fucked up when you think about it, but I think that, you know, trying to just get in bed with anybody, period. Now, I would say when there are people that like, okay, so for one instance, I had somebody reach out to me, right? Trying to have me interview them about you, expecting me to, you know, be on my I guess my mad day or whatever, and, you know, have like some type of vitriol for you. But it's like, when I had started out the interview with, I don't have anything bad to say about that man, because, you know, he's always helped me out. You know, but what we went through was something different than whatever you got going on with him. So I'm not, you know, in it to like confirm or to sit up here and like cackle with you or anything like that. So, you know, I'm gonna go ahead and lay it out like that, you know. And then as he's going on, it's like, you know, you're not really like all the grievances that he's airing out are nothing to be mad about, nothing to be that mad about. You know what I mean? Or like have this much hate for you over like what's really like nothing. You know what I mean? And it's like, yeah, like I'm not gonna sit up here and just egg you on or agree with you just because you think I'm supposed to be mad at him, like how you're mad at him or whatever. Like, no, that's not how that goes, you know. And I hate that that's even a thing, but some people really do think like that, you know. And I wasn't about to do that, and I wasn't about to go on anybody's platform and trash you or try to talk bad about you or anything like that. But you know, again, people would try, or people would think that that's what the case was if they knew that, you know, we weren't talking at the time, or that, you know, whatever happened. But yeah, no. And like I said, it comes to a maturity thing. If I, you know, was to try to go around and say, oh yeah, well, you know, oh yeah, I got this and I know this about CTV, and I'm gonna say this to this person about CTV and interview me about, like, no, man, I feel like that would be corny as fuck, and it'd be extremely immature of me to do some shit like that. But
It
that's
is.
just me. That's what I think. You know, a lot of people don't think like that. A lot of
Yeah.
people would take that as an opportunity to, you know, go ahead and get on
How
yes.
op up
Yep.
to do what they do. Okay, so then to the other situation, and I definitely agree. Like, it is interesting navigating relationship between people who don't like care for each other. I think that for like the attitude of, well, I can't punish somebody for some shit they ain't doing to me, but on the other hand, you got relationship and you got like loyalty. For me, in situations, if the offenses weren't like really dramatic, because I do have my lines, like there are certain things that two people can't do to each other that is not going to not cause an issue for me, because I also can't sit back and just accept any type of behavior, especially as somebody who's like on looking. But so like there will be things and can be things done like between one person I know and another person I know where I would have to get involved, or I would have to make a decision to be like, I'm out. Because I've made those type of decisions before. Matter of fact, I made one of those decisions recently because you just can't do all that. And then me in good conscience feel like, oh, I'm supposed to like, first of all, if you can do that to them, you can damn sure do it to me, for one. So as far as I'm concerned, when it comes to a certain level of offense, it makes it hard for me to even like consider myself separate from the event, like from the offense. So I will opt out of a friendship over how they fall out or what they do to another person I'm in relationship to. And then there's other situations where you're sitting in between two people who don't like each other for whatever reason. They've experienced a breakdown between each other. The way I balance those situations is I'm going to keep checking whoever I feel is out of order, because I still have to have an allegiance to what's right. And I'm ultimately not sitting in the middle to be a neutral party. So if I feel like one person is dead ass wrong in the situation, like, yeah, we can still be friends, but I'm gonna let you know you dead ass fucking wrong. I'm gonna let you know you out of motherfucking order. I'm gonna like put my foot up your ass, and I'm going to let it be known what my stance is on the situation. And that goes beyond kind of like loyalty to a person, but more so like a loyalty to your own values and to your sense of truth, etc. So my friends know that when they fall out with each other, or when two parties that I'm connected to fall out with each other, if one of the parties, or even if both parties, because there have been times where both parties were acting all the way up. And I had to tug on this person's wig, and I had to tug on this person's wig.
Mhm.
I done been in them situations too. I done been wig tugging on both parties, or if it's one party who's really the gaslighter and the instigator and doing the most, then I'm behind the scenes beating the hell out of them too. Like, get your shit together.
Right. Yeah. And to really address a point, I think that we're not I don't think that people really get, especially like people that may be new to you, because 4 or 5 years ago, how many subscribers were you at?
4 or 5 years ago? What, probably 20? Something?
Yeah. Let's say I think I remember you being at like 19.8, 19.
Yeah, 19.8. Mm-hmm.
When I had started to come around. So it's like the biggest, I mean, you have, your own reasons, obviously, as to why you don't, throw out names and stuff like that. But I would say the biggest.
Let me say that too, because I'm glad you brought that up. So the reason why I don't mind saying names, but the who isn't more important than the what we're talking about. So it's kind of irrelevant to me in terms of the who we're talking about. We're just using the what as a catalyst for this conversation to talk about navigating online friendships and associations. So it's not necessary. So nobody has to play Blues Clues, etc. Like, you're minding the wrong business in the conversation and you got the wrong priority in the conversation. You don't need to know who to understand what the fuck we're talking about. We're talking about situations and dynamics and our attitudes about those situations and dynamics. What you need to know who for, because the what ain't more important than the who. But go ahead, knock out.
Yeah, so that's exactly what I was gonna say. But since you already had said the intelligent part about it, I'm gonna say the more ratchet side about it. If we're gonna be, again online talking about what we've been through, it would be very obvious as to why we wouldn't say any names or mention any kind of like specifics about who or what we're talking about, because these people are absolutely out of their fucking mind, man. Like, it's if there is a mention being named, expect CTV to be attacked for the next year straight, or probably two. And it's already happening unprovoked. Like, imagine if there was a name or any kind of light given to these individuals.
And let me just say this: I better be careful, because I'm on my anti-villain shit this year as well. I'm on my anti-hero shit this year as well. So we not as Beyonce to the shit as we was last year.
Yeah.
So we are on the battlefield, but we're also battling when it's worth the battle. Yeah, but we not necessarily sitting in offense entirely.
Right. Ain't no laying down no more. Mm-hmm. Letting stuff slide or whatever.
Any bitch, pow, any bitch can get slapped. Kapot,
pop. But yeah, I just think that it's not worth bringing up these names a lot of times, because these people are again, like, the situation's tired, and I'm not going to bring anything to CTV, and same thing for me. We're not bringing in any unnecessary BS that we don't need when we've been excelling again these past 4 or 5 years. And for the people that have been around that know, they know, but
they know.
I'm not for the sake of people new, just gonna be rehashing shit that, really like, try to impact us in real life. You know what I mean? It's just not. I'm not for that. Especially when we've been getting threatened with people that are, trying to, been saying the same thing for years, but have been saying they want to end us. And
let's be clear, and they can't do that because what you didn't provide, you can't take and you can't impact. Like God did all this. So any bitch out there who actually think they can even touch the anointing is just a delusional asshole. Okay? So that's why all them hoes done did nothing but talk shit, make threats, galvanize, do think pieces, and as you said earlier, every bitch still up here winning like a motherfucker because that's the way it is and that's the way it's always gonna be.
Yeah, it's just, and then they just gonna have to deal with that. That's the thing.
Just gonna have to deal with
it. Being mad is not gonna help nothing. But yeah, I don't get it. But again, we've never been the type to just stand by and indulge in the bullshit. It's like literally always come to us.
And you know what's so funny? A Diana Ross wig bit. This is my first time seeing them, and the gag is a knockout. Is probably one of those weird assholes.
It is. It definitely got to be.
It's probably one of them weird assholes disguised as, because you know how weird they is. They are so desperate because this all this is about is them being able to have one's attention. They be this desperate to walk around as clown ass avatars and to pretend to be some random to compel you to say a name so that they have a reason to energetically plug into you. This is how weird and how obsessive and how demented and distorted these hoes are.
That's just beyond weird,
it's
man.
A gag to me, girl, because I can almost remote view and see who in the hell this actually is. It's a bald head hoe too. It's a bald head hoe too. Cause them hoes real weird, girl. They real desperate. They real obsessive. Like that. Real obsessive.
But my thing is it's so ironic to say that somebody's scared, but they, come behind these profiles and these, like, why not just come as who you are? Just say what you got to say, who you are, And
I got a better question for Diana Ross. Once we drop names, tell me a knockout how we gonna benefit now from what you now know. Tell us what you're supposed to contribute to the situation that's supposed to be significant enough for us to find a value and a point in dropping names. Tell us what you're supposed to bring to the table after we drop names. Tell us what is it? That will be reciprocated from you once we drop the names. What is it you supposed to do? What is it you supposed to say? What is the give and the take, honey? Please enlighten us in terms of what the benefit would be. How then do you become a benefit to us? Oh no, because we got your click in the view already, bitch. See, that's the gag. You here already. So we got the click in the view. We gonna get the click in the view, girl, because we them niggas. Your click in the view is a given. You already done given us that. So clearly, that's not the benefit. It's gonna be thousands of clicks and views. Also, along with your individual click in the view. What is the substantive thing you supposed to bring to the table after we done divulge names to you? And if you can provide, girl, a very muscled, that's all you're getting. And that's why this is all you're getting. That's exactly why this is all you're getting, sugar. Okay? Just so that we're clear. Because Miss Diana just said that's all you're getting, correct. And this is all that you're getting. So take rest, okay? Go ahead, knock out.
Yeah, so we already know like you said, what the only benefit that they're gonna see from us mentioning names is they're gonna create a video. We all know who it is. Talking about, oh yeah, they were talking about me. They were saying this about me. Now I can go.
They're gonna do that anyway. All them weird ass hoes gonna do it anyway. That's the gag. They gonna do that anyway. Like they're gonna project into everything. Oh my god! Oh my god! I don't know what's going on. I don't know why they're talking about me. I don't. That's what they're gonna do anyway because it's so fucking weird.
Man, oh my god! Like I said, the shit is it's very transparent. And
but what is Diana supposed to do? Because you know, folks are being so desperate to want to be all up in your business, but what do they contribute outside of being in your business?
Nothing.
Are you going to cash app for those things? Because my cash app is $Consciouztv. I have no problem putting names on situations that have already played out and is a part of YouTube history. So if you want to send a $25, $30 cash app, Miss, let me go ahead and hold on. Let me put my cash app in this thing for Diana Wig. Let me go ahead and put mine up there and then knock out. Oh, what's your cash app? So I can put yours up in her too.
Oh, Knockout Media. $sign Knockout.
$, Knockout Media, $25 deposit for names for Miss Diana Ross. Now we're gonna see if Miss Diana Ross can stand the rain. We're gonna see if Miss Diana how bad do Miss Diana Ross want it? Now, as you were saying, knockout.
Man, yeah, like I said, I find it ridiculous. The people that have been wanting us to fail and the people that like wish against us have been doing exactly what they've been wishing for us. Like, I don't see how I'm really like losing at any aspect of life right now. And that's because I feel like I, create good karma for myself through, actually coming through from my actual friends. You know what I mean? So again, like going back to everything that, we had said before, the troll had got announced. I feel like when you go through things with an actual friend and you actually, can take accountability for, your fuck up in a way, right? Or like your shit and say, hey, look, that was my fault. I apologize for that, and y'all find a common ground and you're able to work past that. I feel like that's like the true dynamic of a friendship, of a actual relationship. Now, when me and you are on YouTube and people don't see the behind the scenes, they immediately assume that, if anything happens and I say anything good about you, they're like immediately this, oh, you're defending him because he's on your payroll, or, same thing about you and Larry. You're on there, he's on his payroll and he's only doing that because he gets paid $500, and it's like
paid
what?
Like a motherfucker.
But I mean, even if that is the case, like, so what? You know what I mean? Like, how is that affecting your life? Or how is that?
Yeah, man, ain't all them hoes got jobs too? If I was on payroll, like, bitch, ain't you on the payroll? Ain't you clock in somewhere? If I was on the payroll,
yeah, I see.
If motherfuckers knew how much money I walk away from, they wouldn't even be stupid enough to even say dumb shit like that. But I also know that when they say dumb shit like that, a knockout, I've won. Because when that's the consistent rebuttal is CTV must be on payroll or Knockout Media must be on payroll, what it means is that we factory reset the situation in such a motherfucking way that a bitch can't even contend, intellectually flip, dip, remix, or even provide a substantive rebuttal. So they just have to issue their statement as they make their exit. So it's really a win when folk be like, y'all on payroll, Knockout on CTV payroll, CTV on so-and-so payroll. It's like, okay, yeah, bitch, I just I just put that shut your motherfucking mouth elixir on your ass.
Yeah, that's it.
You ain't got nothing to say, bitch, but a bitch is on a payroll. I know that's all you can say, bitch.
Yeah, that's all you can pretty much result to. That's what they all say. Like literally everybody says you're on somebody's payroll. You're getting paid by somebody to do this. And it's like, well, no, I'm not.
But at the same time, they want to be out here saying that all these folk broke. So I don't understand.
Very true. Yeah, it's
how all the people paying people at the same time broke, but got all this money to be putting people on payrolls for stuff they can get out here and say and do themselves. Pay a bitch for what? For some shit they can do themselves? Are you dumb? as if we're all not content creators and have our own camera and microphones to use.
Yeah, but see, that's where more than half the problem, generates from is, again, you got these people that come onto YouTube and have nothing else to talk about. No other skills, no other anything. They don't come on and talk about what they got their degree in. They don't talk about what their work, their field of work, whatever is in. I mean, obviously because they can't land a job in their field because they get fired for doing, dumb stuff. But you don't see that. All you see is them coming online saying, oh yeah, well, this guy is doing this, or this guy is homosexual, everybody look at him, and we have to be compelled or something by what he's saying. And I don't understand why. But if that individual gets called out, or Lord forgive if he has anybody ever say anything challenging what he says, you have to get stalked, and then you have to get harassed, and your life has to pretty much be ruined because you don't agree with what this guy is saying. You know what I mean? Like there are a lot of people on YouTube like that, and it's sad, and it makes you, it can kind of make you as like a content creator not want to indulge in that field, or like be into anything like of the sort, because again, it's just, people are just crazy as hell, man. Almost doesn't even matter what you do, and then like if you want to celebrate anything about your life, it's like now all of a sudden they want to pull that about your life and talk about, it's just, it can be a lot for sure.
Remember when Larry had flued me out, and then another raggedy broke wigless bitch on the internet was like, I could do you better, CTV, but a bitch ain't did me better yet.
Wow.
Remember when a raggedy bitch who had a badass muffler on her 9-to-5 Toyota Camry came out and was like, oh, that's all Larry did for you? I could do you better, but a bitch ain't, the same bitch ain't did a bitch better yet. She has yet to put me in a higher start, a famous hotel. She has yet to put a bitch on a better first class flight to and fro. She has yet to do anything.
Which she should owe it to you, goddammit, for how much she be, oh yeah, a little CTV this and CTV that, like as much.
It is.
View time and AdSense and stuff these people have got off of your name, off of my name, off of talk about anybody.
They're welcome to buy their life.
Yeah, you're
welcome.
You could actually owe that to me.
Plus, that keeps on gifting.
Yeah.
I hope these bitches write me off on their taxes. Gift that keeps on giving.
Oh no, man, this shit is just sad. It's really pathetic to just see, like, again, the same individuals having to come up time and time again, to celebrate what they conceive as like, or what they perceive as like a win. You know what I'm saying? Like they think that, because one person has come out and even said in their live of what's quote unquote was a expose that their situation does not vindicate anybody or give any kind of legitimacy to any other claims or accusations that have been made against said individual. You know what I mean? Like they ignore that, but they just want to come out and say, hey, I was right, and try to use this as another opportunity to, create something And I feel like that is the ultimate like epitome of a stalker.
And a delusional ass motherfucker.
Yeah.
Now, speaking of that, is there anybody that you have fallen out with, got bad blood with, have a misunderstanding with, that you are willing to reconcile with?
Nah, nobody. I'm pretty much like you know what I mean? And especially ever since my situation, and like to hear what a lot of people have had to say, or like what a lot of people were doing during that time, I'm like cutthroat at this point, to where, like I was already to the point of like, okay, whoever's in my circle is in my circle. But yeah, now it's like, yeah, now if you, and then I'm almost like to the point too where like if you're not in my circle, then F you, you know what I mean? You can have a wonderful day somewhere else, you know what I mean? Don't even look at me. Don't even come towards my direction, because I don't trust nobody, is like how I'm looking at everything. I don't I'm so, to the point too where I'm like, I don't look for friends online, or I've been through all that stuff already. Like I'm not green no more. I'm I would consider myself to be somewhat of a veteran, you know what I mean, when it comes to like the YouTube stream and stuff like that. So yeah, nah, if anything, I'm gonna play that same game that they're playing. We're gonna end up manipulating each other at best. You know what I mean?
Tooth
Like,
for tooth. Mm-hmm.
it's not even gonna become a situation where you could even think about, yeah, I'm gonna get in close with Knockout Media and then expose this or expose that, or I'm gonna learn this about him just to try to hurt him with it later. Like, nah, man.
Okay, I'm glad you mentioned that. Like, so, like, with you going through a situation like that, like with someone who you consider to be a friend, and then on mad day shit hits the fan, and then all of that stuff that was conveyed in private is now YouTube fodder. Like, how, like, after you go through something like that, how, because I have peers who have gone through the same shit and it has like changed them. It's made them more guarded, even toward people who they know that they can trust. Like, how are you able to like come back from that and still differentiate between someone who does that to you and somebody else, like, who wouldn't do that to you? Or can you even differentiate? Is it a roll of the dice?
Yeah, I think it's more so that I think, and I think that's why I'm like, not even wanting to like, even indulge in that shit, is because you just don't know. You know what I mean? And the people that I do know and that I do trust, not to, you know, be bringing up stuff that they know that is sensitive to me, or um, I just think that it's just, there's just no room for anybody new. I that's just how I feel.
Damn, so you got a no new friends policy. Everybody on they no new friends shit.
Yeah,
Almost everybody I know, especially as content creators, is on they no new friends wagon.
Yeah, and it's almost like you can't be, you almost can't be, because it's there's too many people out here that's got what do you call it, hidden agendas and shit, and got too much going on, to where I'm like, bro, I'm not even, nah. I don't have the emotional capacity anymore. I don't have the mental capacity to even like be dealing with somebody, or considering somebody who is just going to turn out to be a idiot. I don't.
So you know what's funny about that knockout is I'm kind of like, I'm so in between, and I kind of have a, I don't know, like my attitude about that shit is real, like, I don't know, like, because I'm such a like authentic ass person, and I like it's kind of like in my nature to be myself. It's very hard for me not to be myself, which also bleeds over into the way that I show up in associations and friendships, because I show up like fully there too. But with everything that you just said, like with all the shit that we have all been through, and that not working out all the time for us, definitely is hard. It makes it hard to continue to trust and open yourself up, especially to new situations. But I've come to the realization recently that for me, yes, like I know that not every situation I'm going to win in. Like some situations are going to just go left because you just can't vet the truth. Like the truth comes to be realized over time. And if you're in the business of building relationships, then you give people a shot first, and then the truth prevails later. Unless you do, what you and a lot of my other compadres are doing, which is like y'all are closing the garage door, period. But for me, like I realize because of my authenticity in the way that my like heart is set up, it's harder for me to like be in surface level situations. So for me, I find it harder to like have acquaintances. I find it harder to have associates versus having real meaningful relationships. So for me, I don't have a choice but to continue to like nurture meaningful relationships and continue to like operate in faith in the relationships I already have created. And then if I'm compelled to be in relationships with new people going forward, that the only thing I can do is just have a longer vetting system and just make sure that everything checks out and lines up as I continue to move in, because I just can't do the surface relationships. Like I want everybody that I fuck with and everybody who I deal with to be somebody I can pick up the phone and like just not have to worry about. Like I want the people that I talk to be people that I can like pour myself into and that I can be vulnerable with. It's more difficult for me to exist on the surface and to have to like hide myself and reserve myself because I'm just not willing to go there and to create the next level in the situation because I don't want to be burnt. I don't want to be betrayed. But I just have come to realize that I just will never be able to like really be happy with surface level interaction. Like if I can't really show up, then I don't want to show up at all, really.
I agree. I mean, I have always been that type of person though. Like if I don't feel any kind of like connection, or if I don't feel like it's gonna be something genuine, I'm not doing it. You know what I mean? I don't care what the other dynamics may be. If it's not a connection that I can feel, like I'm not doing it at all. So
yeah,
I get that. And especially when it comes to people, and I wish I could be like that accepting again, or like that I guess like the true word for it would be like kind of being like vulnerable again. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
I just don't really see myself being like that, and I think it's more, grown out of out of like a weakness, because it's a defense mechanism, I guess I could say, rather than it being something that I use as like a true discernment or anything like that. It's kind of more like a I'm just going to close off, and then, I'm not going to accept anybody. And I got the most part, I'm going to be an asshole too about that. So nobody wants to be, you know what I mean? My friend or whatever. Like I'm cool with that because, I don't necessarily need them. So, it's not good. And, I go about that way, in life, period, now, especially, like I said, especially with stuff that's going on, like,
yeah.
I move way differently, and a lot of it is just straight up like coping mechanisms that I'm using as like defense for myself. I don't necessarily think that that's wrong. I think,
Yeah.
you know, that's what a lot of people who have trauma, you know, that's how they respond to things. So
All right, so one more question there, because you know you keep saying shit doesn't mean you want to ask questions. So with what you just being said, right? So recently, like I had a friend who was like kind of clamming up on me a little bit because of shit that they had going on, you know, with other people, and I had to like make that friend aware, like, look, I get it. You know, when people start, you know, acting up, sometimes like it ends up becoming the burden for everybody. And then even people who not doing no fucked up shit end up getting, you know, like being a recipient of that defense mechanism, which I don't appreciate, because if my love for you is not informing how you should show up in other situations where you're not showing up for whatever reason, then don't allow the way somebody else is treating you to inform the way you show up, you know, in situations outside of that situations. But I also know how hard that is, because I realize too, with everything that's going on, as you just said, like it's so much fuck shit that's happening now. It's so many thirsty ass people, so many usury ass people, so many diabolical ass people. And then when you're a content creator, it just changes everything, because you can't even have a regular falling out with anybody. Like everything has to become a YouTube moment or a social media moment at this point. But I have felt myself too, like, damn, I get like my trust issues, like I become fragile in my trust. I become like, I feel the effects of going through the negative shit myself. But for me, when I become aware that those defense mechanisms are showing up in me and showing up in relationships to people who have never done anything to me, that's when I have to like straighten myself out and come to like self-awareness and realize that it's not fair for me to like put people who are treating me right and treating me well, putting them on a shorter end of the stick because of shit other bitches are doing. But it is hard. It's so hard. And I think when it comes to like creating any type of relationship, especially ones that are created online or that at least start online, it's important. Like communication is very significant. Like I would say that that's the greatest weapon to all relationships, period. But definitely is a virtue that has to be absolutely prioritized. Like really communicating, really talking about everything, being honest with each other, like that communicate. Because when content creators are friends, there's so many moving parts. You got the viewers involved, you got all these opinions involved, you got people, you know, who don't like the person that you in relationship to, so they always trying to persuade you out of the situation. You got sometimes you are associates and acquaintances with people that other people you close to don't fuck with. It's like a lot of moving parts, and I've only been able to see that that's survivable based upon very, very strong communication. Like communication has to be strengthened. Let me ask you this question too, Knockout. Like, how important do you feel? Because sometimes I also feel like some of the shit, like sometimes social media relationships are fragile because they're not nurtured physically. Like, do you think that physicality matters in friendships amongst creators? Like actually spending time with each other, bringing each other really into each other's life, that also creates a confidence and an affirmation and a strength to the sisterhood or the brotherhood or whatever the fuck it is?
I kind of am on the fence about that because I
I think your device had went out, knockout. That's a partial payments, y'all. That's a motherfucking partial payments, child. If you can hear me, knockout, I can't hear you. He might be moving through a area that is bad. I will drop the link to after me and knockout raps. Knockout, if you can hear me, we cannot hear you. The internet is not interneting. That's hard. What's going on, Britannica Hable, who says not partial payments, baby? Okay, I see you doing the mute and the unmute, but we still can't hear you. So something going on with your mics, with your microphone. You might gotta go out and come back in, knockout. And since I text you the link, like, yeah, he gonna hit that link and come back in, y'all. What's going on, Emily? Hey, Bo. So we're just talking about navigating social media relationships because it's a lot to navigate. It's a lot of going on. It's a lot of agendas at play, girl. It's people getting close to you for all the wrong reasons sometimes, all the right reasons sometimes. It gets hard to differentiate who's who. A lot of breakdown happens that you guys can see with, content creators, etc. I've definitely had my fair share of L's and I've had my fair share of wins. What I do know is that social media relationships require the same thing that all relationships do. They require actual love. They require sincerity. They require reciprocation. They require all that, but they're also unique relationships because it's very easy for misunderstandings to happen based upon the way social media is navigated. It's all type of shit, girl. It's a lot. You got content creators who have fallen out because they made each other content. Like if they ended up in a news cycle and then the other friend covered and gave their honest opinion, even if it was an unflattering one. You got some content creators who decide not to even speak on things that are relevant to their peers at all, just to, keep everything copacetic. All right, you back, knockout?
Oh.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. And you're back. We can hear you.
All right. Yeah. My bad.
No, you good. I was just talking about like the whole dynamics of like covering somebody who you're friends with who is a creator and who's not. Like, how do you feel about that? Because some people have a like, I'm gonna cover you and give my honest opinion, even if it's not a flattering one. If you end up in a news cycle, while other people opt out of even giving coverage at all, just to stay away from, like just to stay away from any bullshit that may arise. Like, what is your attitude toward that?
I don't know. That's a hard one. That's actually a really hard one to answer.
Because I don't think it's a right or wrong. I think it's just like it's a preference thing. And if you are going to talk about your friend who ends up in the news cycle for whatever, and you want to give coverage, and you know that your coverage may not necessarily be so-called positive, even if it's honest, then all I can say is, bitch, you just better communicate personally, understanding, and so that person can have a fucking heads up. Because some people, because I've seen people fall out over that kind of shit too.
Yeah, I mean, it would make sense, but I would say that again, once you get into the space of calling yourself a content creator, or in that realm, you kind of like almost have to consider that, like, that's gonna happen. You know what I mean? Like, even if it is supposed to be, all quote unquote positive, there's gonna be some critique in there. There's gonna be some stuff in there that you may not want to hear at the time. You know what I mean? And it's like really gonna be a true testament to your friendship. You know what I mean? If you're gonna like explode or not. But I can definitely see where, it's like like you said, either way you're gonna have to communicate. You're gonna have to communicate hard. And I think that, being somebody, if you want to be in the public light, you want to be somebody who's got 20, 30K subscribers or whatever, you're gonna have some negativity. I mean, it's just like bound to happen. I don't know what it is about, if it's just social media in general or if it's like a YouTube thing, but I just know that there's gonna be some stuff that's gonna come with being a content creator. The people that are in relationship to you or that are close to you, it's like there could be a massive divide on the people that want to take your, what they know about you, what they find out about you, and use it against you, and then you have your people who are going to, want to protect you. And I think, smartest thing to do would be to go with the people that want to protect your name, that actually want to look out for you. Like why would you want to surround yourself around people who are just like talking bad about you and don't want the best for you? I don't understand that.
Oh, okay. So you just brought up another thing. What do you think about silent friends versus loud friends? Like, content creators be in relationships a lot of times to a lot of other content creators, have helped a lot of other content creators. I know that that's been the case for me. I've helped people both privately, who people have never seen me have to support publicly. People have seen me support publicly, but don't even know how much support I've also provided privately. But then, like, when shit happens, and you know this too, like, as a content creator who has built relationships to other people, you've also had like your fair share of controversy. Like, do you take it personal, or what is your attitude toward like watching other content creators watch you endure a bunch of shit but don't do anything to better your situation?
Man, so I can tell you specifically, after I had got after what happened, and there were a ton of people, I'm talking about a lot of people, coming out and saying, egregious things about me, right? And like I was expecting people, well, I wouldn't even say expecting. I wasn't expecting people, especially like in certain sectors. Like we know one like the Umar sector to be, like just a whole troll sector, right? So it's like, even some people in, be it only like maybe 2 or 3, but they were in that sector saying, hey, this is like messed up what y'all are saying. You know what I mean? Like y'all need to stop what y'all are saying, because if it was the shoe was on the other foot, y'all would be tripping, whatever. Like they actually spoke up. But I was not expecting that, whatsoever. Now I guess because I know of how YouTube is, and I know how shallow people are. I can't say I was really like expecting anybody to be on my side or like defensive like that. I think I really made my videos, and kind of ever since I had like slowed down on YouTube, you know what I mean? Like my videos are really for my longtime subscribers, you know what I mean? Like the people that want to see my son, or like, they want to see, my progress or whatever through life. Like I think those people are like the people I really aim and center my content for now. If I do upload, you know what I'm saying? Like I don't really upload with the mindset of like, okay, I'm trying to get views off of this, you know what I mean? So I think all all my stuff is more so now personal, you know, and things that I can go back and look at, you know, even though they got 30 views or whatever. There's stuff I can look back on is like, you know, more of like a documentation, like a video diary, which is what I got on YouTube for initially in the first place, you know. So I'm kind of like back to my essence, I guess, in that, and that's cool enough for me.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not into all the same stuff I was into 4 or 5 years ago. So
you've grown, you've evolved, etc. I remember the day we fell out online was the day that you had it going on online all day. Honey. You was out here swinging and banging hard, just shooting up the club out here. And I remember because I was traveling with you online, like we was live on your platform, live on my platform. We was like traveling, running these streets. And I remember people was like, CTV, like this is above you. This is above you, and this like you, da, 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 da. And I'm like, yeah, but this is also my friend, and I don't think I'm above anything. Like, he's at war right now. So my loyalty has to lie where it has to lie at. Like, I don't look at it as like above or below. But once again, like that kind of goes back to my mentality of I don't know how to, like, how I get down in real life is how I get down in digital life. Like, my friends not in nothing by themselves in real life. So whether they in some shit online or whether they in some shit offline, like, if they in the right, I'm standing with them. And if they done ran toward the storm, I'm gonna run toward the fucking storm too. Like, I don't opt out in real life, so I'm not gonna opt out on online life. But like you said, there are a bunch of shallow ass people on the internet, and I have been able to see people get real spooked and nervous when it's time to really put something on the line for somebody. But everybody using their friend word. But it's like when it's time to really show up and it's time to really be there for that person, whether it's a need, whether it's a community or whatever the fuck the situation calls for, like, it'd be a whole lot of hands off deck all of a sudden. But when it's up, don't nobody mind having your name in lights. People don't mind inviting you to their platform when it's a winning season. But when shit go all the way left and Titanic seems to be going down, it be the mute challenge out in this motherfucker.
Yeah.
And for me, I can't put up with that. The only way I can put up with some shit, like, I would have to be very clear about what my relationships are and are not. Because I do understand that this is a political game too. And not everybody who you see together are together in the way you would think. Like, there are some people who you think are friends who are just acquaintances. There are people who you think are friends who are just friendly to each other, etc. But see, that's what my struggle is. I only know how to make everything real. I don't know how to have shallow. I can have shallow interactions, but I don't know how to have shallow relationships. I just don't know how to do that.
Yeah.
And so I don't have the capacity to really compartmentalize in that way. I remember when you used to be over here sometime and people would be like, why you keep bringing knockout media, knockout? He always asks an oppositional energy. And I'm just like, like, it was weird to me because I didn't know if people really thought I was supposed to like make a decision about who I'm in relationship to based upon a bunch of feedback from people I'm not in relationship to in that way. Like, I'm more in relationship to you than I am in relationship to the people providing the comments.
Right. And they want you to abide by what.
Yeah, but they want me to fall back and to make a decision off of somebody I'm actually in a relationship to based upon them liking or not liking you. That's a lot. And that's very like weird to me.
Man, I'm telling you, that's why I think half of the whole content creation aspect is like, you know, kind of dying out, is because, you know, you have so many people that like, you know, just don't like you for whatever reason, just don't you know, want you around. And you know, for some people it's like you want to be like, man, that's too bad, like, you know, I like this person and I want them to be around. And you know, they people in the comments like will take it personally and be like, you know what, you know, I'll just stop watching your platform, or like I'll boycott your platform, or even better, like I'll just go over to whoever I know is like your opposition and join in their conversation. You know what I mean? Like it's a real messy thing, you know. And it's like a lot of people try to say the content creators are the messy ones, but you know, you do have a lot of people in the
A lot
comments
of viewers who
ignite a lot of stuff.
dark spirited as hell, like divisive as hell. Like, even when they can see a perfectly working good thing going, would just be divisive. I've had people say the same shit. I'm just like, okay, well, thank you for your clicking the view, girl, because like the fuck. Like, in my last live, I had Tyrus and Reckless up, and people were commenting like, oh, I don't like people have commented about Tyrus, like, oh, I don't like Tyrus. I don't know why you have him up here. Like, clearly because I like him up here. But for two, do you realize that like you're not a part of an echo chamber? Like, for your one, I don't like, there's like 10 other people who do like him. Same thing with Reckless. Like, people have some criticisms for him, like, oh, I don't know why you brought, like, he's so childish, etc. But I'm like, well, obviously he's not childish to me, for one, which is why he's here. And for two, he's not childish to the majority of people who are here. And it's also okay for you to have that opinion, but like you just said, I don't know why a person would think they're clicking their review or their subscription is important enough for people to like literally be separating themselves from people who they're connected to in real life. Like, these are my real niggas. Like, I don't make no decision about anybody in my actual life based upon public perception. It just like for a lot of our supporters, public perception don't change their perception about us. True. Even though there are people who don't like you, the people who don't like me.
Yeah,
that ain't got nothing to do with whether they like me or you or not. You know, but sometimes I don't like, why can't it just be like, what happened to the old days where you just like listen to content, you watch content, you participated in content, and what you didn't like, you just didn't like, and what you did like, you did like. But all this like trying to manipulate and extort the content creator by waiving your subscription or you're clicking a view over them is tired, and it's never worked for me ever. I don't give a fuck enough about a subscription or a click in a view to allow anybody to believe that that's going to be like your manipulative ploy. because I'll get you up out of here faster than you can.
Yeah. Bye. That and the thing is that, you know, for that one person, I think that they're gonna affect like The rest of these 50K, 48,000, 49,000 people. It's like, nah, man, like you can go about your day, and I could care less what your opinion is, but again, it comes down to this like almost like fatal attraction type of thing, to where they don't want to leave you alone, but at the same time they want you to adhere and abide by like their standard of like how you're supposed to be, or what they think you're supposed to be. And I'm not for that, and again, I guess that's why, the whole no new friends, and I'm not even really trying to even really like rally around trying to gather new viewership or anything like that, just because like I want to steer clear of that. That shit is stressful, you know what I mean? Especially like when you're up and coming, you know what I mean? Like you're already established, so it's real hard for somebody to really do that to you. But like, imagine like if you were at 1,500 subscribers, or at 1,300 subscribers, 900 subscribers, something like that, and you're trying to like, really make it, but you want to appease these people. It's they will almost cower down to doing
Absolutely.
it,
Mm-hmm.
just because they want that one subscriber to
Yeah,
tip
because
them
it
over.
matters at that level. Yeah.
Right. Right. Whereas like once you graduate past that, it's like, one person is not gonna stop the whole show. So, I think it's levels to it, of course, but you still have to stand your ground even when you're a small content creator. You can't let.
Keep your integrity, and you gotta tell a motherfuckers, okay, bye.
Mm-hmm.
Don't
Yeah,
let the Lord
do that.
split. Like, don't let the door not hit you with the good Lord split you.
Yeah. And that is one thing I will agree with one recent commentary is like, you know, bro, like sometimes you can just walk away and like, you know hopefully a door don't hit you in your ass when you are walking out, because sometimes it's better that way, and a lot of times people don't consider it, but it's like, man.
Those people are also exposing themselves, and those are the people you actually don't want in your camp and as followers either.
Right.
So take it as a positive when people show you how manipulative they are, because that literally is a manipulation and extortion tactic. Like, I'm going to unsubscribe if you don't do this. Like, who the fuck?
Right. Who the fuck are you talking to? Yeah, who you think you are? But yeah, man, I think really just to sum everything up, like everything is I think it comes down to like discernment, but also think when you're navigating the social media streets and you're trying to be, like hold your innocence and like your essence and your integrity. You almost have to like have this shield up, and you have to like you were saying earlier, at the beginning of the live, you have to like put people through this vetting process. And it's like you almost have to make it like a super rigorous process, because it's like you have to weed out who's on their bullshit. And I think that's the only way to do it. There's no other way to go about it other than to be guarded. And it sucks, but I feel like that's just how it is, like for now.
Mhm. Well, I ain't gonna keep you any longer. You already done been here 2 hours. I only have one more question, and I'm doing this as an example to show these hoes this how you this how you be a friend. Friend,
Hmm.
are you happy with the friendship at this point? And is there anything that you would like me to work on that could make me a better friend to you?
Oh no, like no. I feel like I need to be asking you that question, because I feel like with you, you're intentionally a good friend, and I feel like right now it's like I have a lot of things that like I don't want to say like distract me, but it's like I have a lot of things going on to where it's like I can't be as present as I'd like to be. But I would say that you as a friend, there's nothing I would change at all, nothing I would add or anything. Like
Wow.
you're like the quintessential friend, that everybody would want, as far as like you know, everything that you would want in a friend. So I can't say there's anything that I could critique you on or say, you know, I just say I need to be more like you when it comes to being a friend. But I think it'll come, you know, as like things settle in after,
I
you know.
think you're doing a fabulous job. I
Thank
think
you.
you're doing an absolute fabulous job. You are one of the few people that I feel completely safe with crying on the shoulders of. And that is not something that I take for granted because there's not a lot of people who are emotionally available enough to make the time and to create the type of space that I feel comfortable really being broken in and showing my brokenness in. So I really appreciate you um showing up, and I don't have anything that I can critique you on. I feel like we got consistency down. We have um brotherhood down to a T. I don't have anything. I don't have any critique, and as long as you know that I'm also very open to criticism, because I think it's important for people to learn each other. I think it's important for l- love languages to exist in all forms of relationship. Like, we usually only reserve a love language for a romantic ship, but love language needs to be understood in all of relationships where there is love, so that people know how to deal with each other. So I want you to be able to critique me because, as you just said earlier, like, I'm being very intentional about showing up for people in my life, and I want to show up in a way that they can recognize, show up in a way that means something to them. That also has to mean that they have to have the space to tell me what the fuck they need and what they want and what they're looking for. And so never shy away from letting me know anything that I can do to better improve the way that I show up, because I want to know those.
Yeah, no, I would no. There's nothing I would change. I mean, like, you know, I've had a I had a good week to like sit down and reflect on a lot of things um,
Mm.
a few months ago, you know, and it's like I think had I like transitioned and not been here, like you would have been one of the people I was really like checking on. You know what I mean? Like that's
And that thing, Naka, I can't even imagine. I can't imagine things have gone any differently. I could not imagine you not being here. I think that would have like changed me forever. That would have been one of the first major losses in my life in like six,
mm,
7 years, even with us not being friends at the time, or not being in a relationship, just not being in a relationship to one another at the time, that what happened to you. But as soon as when I saw that post, like, I almost experienced it for the first 15 minutes, I almost experienced it as if like that situation had claimed your life. That was a very terrifying, very disruptive, emotional experience. That's why when you called me from a number I ain't fucking recognize and was
mm,
like, yo, this knockout. And that's why I was damn near in tears, because I'm just like, as far as I was concerned, it was like you waking up from the dead and you going through something like that at a time where me and you were not communicating. It just added so much more like intensity on my end emotionally, because that situation like put me in a position to also like hypothetically see what what it would feel like and be like to like have you not be here. So when you called me, like I was like, nigga, if you don't bring your ass on, like, cause I ain't even got time for nothing else but for friendship again. Like I ain't even got no other space in my brain because between the distance that was already there, coupled with what had happened to you, it brought my value of you like full fucking circle. I didn't even think it could be more fuller, but that situation just added a whole nother level of vibranium to the fact that this is my friend. This is somebody who I want in my life. And this is somebody that actually matters to me because I can still feel this even outside of communicating with him and being in connection to him. So, because you know how like how vibrational I was that night that we talked. I mean, my heart was like completely wide open. I did not hold back. I was like, look, nigga, I'm about to sound real gay as hell. I don't give a fuck. Like, I'm about to pour out like, nigga, I love you. I miss you. Like, I ain't give a fuck how it came off because now that was my first time speaking to you, you know, with us not being in connection and then with something like that happening to you. So it was a total miracle as far as I was concerned that you even like came back through the veil for the friendship. I was shocked, but I wasn't shocked because I always felt like we both recognized each other as friends. But when you like put aside your own ego and you was willing to even come back, because I know how many people don't, even if they do. Like so many people sit around and be like, you know, I'm sure there's people right now in your life who done hurt you, you know, who you in breakdown with, and they are sitting somewhere in this world, like wanting to be next to you right now, wanting to talk to you right now, wanting to be in relationship to you right now, but their fears or their insecurities or their egos will not let you. I mean, it won't let them make that move. It won't let them pick up the phone. It won't let them come knock on your door. It won't let them send that text. So for you to be a dude and for you to be a man, I also knew how much you had to put aside in order to even show back up again. And I wasn't going to make you regret that on my end by giving you a tough time in that conversation, because I knew it probably took for you to even just show up again.
Man, well, I'll tell you what. Even with people that, you know, are supposed to be my blood or whatever, right? I still have like this, like I told you, I have this, and it's not even just like with social media, it's in like real life. I have this real super hard time like trusting people. And you know, I got people that were acting one way when everything had happened, and now that it's a few months later and, you know, certain things have transpired or whatever, where more information has been like verified, right? That now it's, oh, can we, you know, be around you? Can we be your child's godparents and stuff like that, right? And, you know, I'm like, fuck. I mean, I'm like, no, hell no. You know what I mean? Like, it absolutely not. You know, and not even so much that. Like, I don't even know. I mean, want you people to know like where I stay. I want you people to like know my email address. I don't want nothing. You know what I'm saying? And with you, it's like I didn't have to like be cautious or be like, you know, I have to watch him or something like that. You know what I'm saying? So it's like it was almost natural for me, like after I had got out the hospital, to like you know, say something. And then, you know, like the other thing too is you know, I had told my fiance this, but when I was like actually in the helicopter and I was like ascending up, and I'm thinking this is why my bill is, you know,
That of a six. A 6-figure nigga.
Man, that of a successful 6-figure. You know what I mean? Like overly successful, you know. But anyway, I think it's as to where it is because they had to like give me something because I was maybe slipping in the helicopter. You know what I mean? And it's like to had been at like the moment I was and to be like kind of like at the peace in like the middle of chaos, you know what I mean? And then like to just like wake up all of a sudden and then to like, you know, go through everything, go through surgery and all that. It's like when you're laying there and like you have to like consider life again or whatever, you know, I wanted to do it, you know, on the right foot with the right people, you know, and I've been real slow to do that, but I made sure I wanted to like have you in my circle. So
Man,
for what that means.
situation changed to both of us for the better. It
Yeah.
brought it full circle on both ends.
Yeah.
That's crazy. And that's the like what you're describing right now, Knockout, is exactly why that's why I try my best to show up so fully, because imagine like how many people right now, like it's going to take something like that happening for them to see what they could choose to see like right now. And I always think about stuff like that, like because I've heard so many people go through very traumatic things, and it really kind of ripped the curtain back on their heart or on their mind. It really like helped to bring a lot of things full circle. And I know that that's why tragedy happens, as painful as it is. It happens to quantum leap us forward. And I always think about that myself, like, damn, like I try to dissolve my ego as much as I can all the time so that I can see clear all the time, so that I can really just understand what's really important to me and what I really have in my heart. So I be undergoing a lot of ego deaths as well. Like I don't necessarily end up physically in them situations, but like just the apocalypse I be taking myself through just to also stay in the present moment.
And
it is a massive death to undergo, like mentally and emotionally, because life is very interesting and life is very precious. And just to think that like you also going through that also changed like the way that you're going to be showing up like for your son. You know, it also changed you and your girl's relationship for the better too. Like it also helped to see other things clearer. It also helped to see what relationships you didn't need and what relationships you didn't need to be fostering, what relationships you didn't need to be nurturing. Like that shit helped to kill off a lot of bacteria that was symbolically and metaphorically in your life.
Yeah. You know what? I would say what that situation did was provide a ass load of clarity, and beyond that, like more so than that, it provided a lot of like confirmation, right? And like you and I both know what I'm talking about when I say that. But you know, I think even like beyond the situation, right? Like the people immediately involved, I think it confirmed like a lot of what, you know, me and you are talking about here right now, right? Which is the envy that we experience, the straight up jealousy that we like actually endure, you know, when you're a content creator, like that's going to be a real thing, right?
Yes.
Me and you are like can attest to that.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, like with the jealousy and the envy like tied into it, you have these people that like develop this anger for you.
Yeah.
And the anger can present itself in multiple forms, and like most times they like want to like be this like violent, you know. And like this is almost why I wanted to say earlier when it came to like content creators meeting physically, right, is like I feel like if that was the case, then how many people would start to say that, you know, a content creator is not really a content creator until they have like meet and greets and stuff like that. And then, you know, when you have these meet and greets, you have these people that want to take their opportunity to try to like hurt you or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like that can like kind of develop into something like more dangerous than beneficial. And I feel like that's a very real thing that you have to consider when you have people that like just don't like you for whatever reason. You know what I mean? Like and it's not to anything that you did or anything that you like have any control over. They just don't like you just because they don't like you. You know what I mean? And your success actually drives them crazy. And
It does. And
it's
success can be in all different facets. It could be your success with friendships on here, your success, you know, outside of social media. I mean, but you know, I think it's fair though, Knockout, because we are commentators and we're pop culture critics, and I guess we observe other people from afar and come to conclusions. Now, we may not do what some of these folk do. We may not let our opinion that we come to from afar be something that drives us to go like acting real evil and diabolical toward that person.
Mm-hmm.
Unlike these people, but I do think it's fair. Like, you know, I'm content and you're content, and people gonna find something they don't agree with, find something they don't like. Oh, Knockout Media said this, or CTV said that, or I don't like the way this happened. Da 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 da. And I'm like, okay, cool. Well, that's fair because I do that with reality stars, with singers, with artists, with the people I report on. I come to conclusions, but once again, I'm also not a threat to any of those people in real life. I don't stalk and terrorize these people in real life. I don't want to do any of them harm. And if any of them want to speak to me and speak to my platform, they can, such as Claudia Jordan. That's how I encountered Claudia. I had made a comment, I had did a video, and I had jokingly said that her and Christian Keys were sneaky links. And she got in my comment section and corrected me. It was like, I've never been a sneaky link. Da, 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 da. And I was like, okay, I will correct that in my next live. And I did correct it. And that was kind of the beginning of me and Claudia was right there. And I shared with the audience that she has had no sexual dealings at all with Christian Keys. That she came back under that video and she thanked me and, you know, da 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 da. And I'm just like, but there are people out here who be like really invested and like really despising and hating the people that they are commenting on or giving commentary on. For me, it's just commentary. It's just a perspective. And
yeah,
it be that until that perspective changes, etc. But does anybody have to worry about me outside of my commentating space? Hell no.
see, that's where the ball gets dropped with a whole nother sector of people, is that it stops at YouTube. You know what I mean? It stops at the commentary.
It begins there and ends there. Yeah.
There is no, you know, extra involved outside of that. I'm not trying to like infiltrate your life. I'm not trying to mess with your kids. I'm not trying to mess with your
job.
Yeah, like no, I'm not doing that. It's
your life.
Yeah. What the like? Where is all this other shit come from? And again, you know, it speaks to just the mentality of a lot of people, you know. And speaking of Claudia, you know, like you're saying to Kevin, right? Kevin is it's like, I'm not trying to, you know, say anything bad about him or anything like that, but that's like almost a perfect example, right? Of like, you know, how viewers see things kind of like on the surface, right, and don't know like the inner workings of anything. And like you hear things from people, you might hear, you know, stuff from people that are detractors, and it might sound salacious, it sounds good or whatever, but they don't know what's ultimately going on.
And I honestly don't know what I'm supposed to do with that either. I mean, like what I'm supposed to do about
yeah,
like what I'm supposed to do. It's like I mean, okay, congratulations. Congratulations. I just posted to my wall, Miss Claudia Jordan and I are in collaboration with some things coming down the pipeline. So I mean, I don't. Yeah, I mean it. Okay.
Like,
I don't know what I'm supposed to do.
like I said, we keep getting blessed. Like in the,
That's it. Always, all the time.
it, you know, we have things to show for it. Like we can go back and say, you know, but we're humble. We're and that's the other thing about us. We're two very humble people because we could be very loud about, you know, our wins and our successes, but
Yeah, and I've changed that a little bit because I'm just like I'm a little bit too
you just
on board. I need to beat on this motherfucking phoenix tattooed chest just a little bit more than I do. I be a little bit too humble with it. But yeah, you're right, humble because we could be more braggadocious than what we are. Only if people knew the motherfucking half of it.
only the half
Could showboat like a motherfucker.
bad. I'm not
But we
really.
know that'll make them hoes even more damn crazier if we did.
Yeah, you really gonna want to hurt something then because you're gonna be mad for. But you know, I feel like right now I'm, you know, I have a one of the biggest blessings like pretty one could like even get, you know, come, and on top of that, you know, I have another blessing of life, you know, the second chance of life. Like how much more could I ask for?
Man, the fuck.
Plus I got my own, you know, bed I can
Young
come.
hater showed who God is for. Can you believe that your brother was only used to prove to you who stands behind you?
Well, what's crazy is so once I had got out of surgery, right, the very first person I had talked to was a priest. So I put myself under an alias when I went to the hospital. So it's like even, you know, people were looking for me, they couldn't find me. So um the nursing team had came and talked to me, and then or like the nursing team for the floor. And then I think one of my trauma doctors come and talk to me, and then they asked if I wanted to talk to the priest.
Yeah.
So priest comes in and I'm talking to him for like 3 hours, you know, bawling, crying. And I'm like, you know, asking how I can start to like the steps to forgiveness, right? And he's like, wow, that's powerful that you're even asking that. He's like, that you even like considering that is crazy right now. And he was like, you know, of course, you know, we're talking about you know, God in that aspect. And he's like, you should look at, you know, the stories of like, you know, brothers in the Bible. He was like, you'd be surprised at how a lot of the stories go, right? So, you know, of course we're talking about Cain and Abel as like, you know, being the staple story of like, you know, two brothers and one of them is like jealous, you know, of the other and his relationship with God, right? And how that turns into him being like exiled pretty much. Like God turns his back on him pretty much, right?
Yeah.
I feel like this situation is like, you know, it's almost like a reflection, you know, of like a biblical story into where, you know, the circumstances and everything that's happening right now, it's like really wild to me. But
Should be.
you know, I also you know, try to take everything day by day, right? But when I talk to my therapist, you know, of course I have a therapist for my trauma. um so whenever we're talking about it, you know, he's like, man, you know, he's like, but you have to celebrate your wins, you know. He was like, I know everything that's gone on and everything, but he was like, look at where you're at now, like how much you've accomplished from being in the hospital bed till now, right? And I was like, man, that is an enormous amount. And you know, when you look up people who have had GSWs or had, you know, wounds like how I've had, you know, they're in wheelchairs, or like they're in
Paralyzed. Yeah.
yeah, they're hurt for sure, you know. And I'm able to get up and, you know, stand up and do things for myself and walk around, and I don't have to have assistance or any.
Fully functional. Yeah.
Yeah, like that is actually like enough to like
How
make.
does it feel to know that, like, because what you now know is what a lot of people have to have faith about. Like, a lot of people have to have faith that their angels are there, their guardian angels are there, that spirit is there. You got put in a position that pretty much like demonstrated that full out, that there are unseen powerful forces at work that are behind you and standing with you.
Man, look, people don't understand, and that's what I'm trying to wait till June. So, the trial for my situation and everything that happened is gonna take place in June. So after that, I'm definitely gonna share my
Yeah.
testimony, and, you know, as far as like from a like a Christian standpoint, you know, how my faith had really been like tested, you know, time and time again, like before that, you know what I mean, like way before that situation, how like I was going through a lot of shit,
Yeah, you are. Yeah.
you know, and it was like a back to back thing, and like I was having these like kind of like spiritual battles and stuff like that. Like, man, like I said, it's so much deeper than what a lot of people, you
I
know.
can't wait until you get into the. I can't wait until you get into the minutia. I can't wait until
It's
you can really talk about that shit from front to back, because it's definitely synchronistic as fuck.
I'm telling you, and like, you know, the only reason that like I can talk about it, but
Yeah.
I'm not, you know, kind of like in the space mentally to like, you know, kind of recap everything. But
Yeah.
I think by June, by like, you know, like I said, by the time the trial and everything happens, I'll be more, uh, you know.
Sure.
But yeah, like it's a lot surrounding it, and, you know, what we're touching on is kind of like, you know, surface level kind of stuff, you know, that I feel like, you know, if you're any kind of introspective, you know, you would take like our whole conversation, right, and like there's so many things you can dissect and like take from it.
Yeah.
But I think if you're, you know, again, somebody who's coming around for like the shallowness or like for the salacious, you know, bullshit, it's like, you know, for the most part, I just think that those people are, you know, talking out of the side of their fucking neck. Like, they don't know what they're talking about, because they don't really know like the forces that are at play. You know, they never have got that. And the CTV has always been so vocal about like spiritually, like, you know, how we deal with things. And I think that's where more than half of our connection comes from, right? Is
Yeah.
like, I think we, on the spiritual level, like we vibe, and a lot of people don't get that a lot, you know. But yeah, man, it's a
A lot of
lot.
people don't know how we keep doing this. They don't know. Like, they're like, how the fuck are these people surviving? Like, they ask the same thing about me and Larry. They ask about me and you. Like, how do they keep surviving this shit? Because none of these other people can survive a connection to each other. Like, the towers go down and nobody comes out of that rubble. And it don't matter what happens, we keep coming out of the ashes together. Keep coming out of the ashes together. It drives such a hatred that they have to try to get you to be them too. Because, like, if they can't have this, if they can't replicate this, if they can't manifest this, you can't either. They don't want it for us either. So
Right.
I know why they're driven to like always try to be divisive. And I appreciate you for being like a fucking man and for standing 10 toes down. Because when these niggas was roasting you, oh, you friends with a gay nigga, and I mean, you fucking, if anything, you put your fucking toes even deeper into the damn dirt. Like,
Yeah,
you made them niggas that shit up.
yeah, yeah. In fact, I'm finna go get a wig and some shit. And I don't give a fuck if y'all think, and then like that's the whole thing. Oh, you must be da, bro. I'm having a whole fucking child, bro. And like the whole thing about it is like, even if I was gay, like what would be the issue with that? Like,
Exactly.
you know what I mean? Like, but the fact that people are like, you know, like I said, man, I think a lot of people are so dense and so shallow that they would choose to miss out on a great friendship or like a great opportunity with somebody or whatever the case, just because, you know, oh, you're gay or you're this or you're that, or, you know, even in my case, you know, a lot of people will be like, oh, you associate with this person, you associate with that person, bro. Like, you know, you would think that knowing that I have associations with people that you would, you know, at least want to like rub shoulders or something like that and network, you know what I mean? Like, if you're really being smart about it. But a lot of people just, you know, that like that'll be the first thing they jump to
They're
too.
not being smart about it, and they come in already with low self-esteem, assuming that they ain't good enough. So then they decide upon themselves, well, I'm not good enough to join them. I'm sure they probably don't want me. I'm sure I'm probably not good enough for them. So they start off oppositional, but don't realize that they're starting off oppositional, not because nobody has even rejected them yet, but because you've rejected yourself. You haven't even given yourself the opportunity to even just come to the table as a normal person and be genuinely received and holistically received before you've already like projected all of your insecure shit onto the situation with a bunch of assumptions. And now you mad at a bunch of people that never even shut the door or never even affirmed the door was closed to you. And you running off of like you getting half your own insecure supply. The fuck? Taking that shit out on you, taking that shit out on me or everybody else.
Yeah,
You know, weird. Like they don't have no emotional intelligence. They lack EQ. They don't even understand that they've gotten themselves into this quicksand, that they've created a big bad boogeyman that don't even exist. That it's a figment of their imagination.
Yeah, but you got to think that's a lot of people that's doing that. A lot of, even with the whole the fucking murder plot, like that's somebody who conjured up a whole fucking thing in their own head. You know what I'm saying? Like,
and brought it to the courts, who threw it out because it was all in their heads. Like literally, like get the shit out of here. Like rejected the whole countersuit.
yeah,
like move the fuck around.
That just goes to show how in, you know, their heads those people be. Because
it also goes to show how fucking delusional and how stupid these people are, because they think the social media games they play online are the same social media games they can play in the actual court of law.
All right.
And the court of law had to make itself a distinguished court to their ass. Like, look, you might can grift and garner a fucking audience with these weird ass, naive, dumb assholes you fool around with on the internet, but all that fluff and all of that narrative driven shit that you can't back up with any objective fucking proof, all of that bullshit and Hunger Game shit you play, like, yeah, that shit is completely irrelevant to the actual courts. You actually have to show up and you got to actually fight factually to have a case. And people be thinking that this shit they can do on the internet is the type of shit that can get passed and can be legitimized through the court of law. Is so cringy, and I experienced secondhand embarrassment for these people.
Well, we've seen, like I said, the proof is in the pudding. 5 years down the road, how even them, you know, going to court and trying to get default, you know, judgments and shit like that, how that's not even affected anything. You know what I mean? And it's not going to like, but like you said, this is
stuck eternally. Like, don't even realize, like, their emotions being created right now. Like, how could you be so stupid to not like? But once again, people not understanding the difference between the court of public opinion and the court of law. Do you understand with or without prejudice? Do you understand what without prejudice means? They're like, do you get it? Like, do you understand that you are legally, mortally bound to your agreement, and there is no re-mitigating, there is no re-litigating it. I'm talking about it is so done that hypothetically, let's say that everything being said was true. You are still legally bound for the rest of your life, specifically. Your life. There is no coming to light. There is no undoing. And not only are you about to find that out the hard way for the fifth time, because this would be the fifth contempt, but you've also risked your livelihood because you've proven to the courts that the financial sanctions that were administered to you as a penalty have been to no avail. So this judge, rightfully so, can employ the other thing he also always had an option to, which is your 30 days in jail. And then if that can't get you together, your 60 days in jail. And if that can't get you together, your 90 days in jail. And then you can decide how much of the rain you can or can't stand. That's just going to be up to you.
Well, you know, before my phone died,
yeah, thinking about it, he's almost 12 midnight anyway.
The biggest thing that I can reflect on, you know, again, in relevance to our live today, right? Because we could probably make a live off of.
We can go on and on and on all day. Yeah.
What we talk about, but I really want to, you know, say thank you for, you know, even introducing me to the whole aspect of like emotional intelligence and being somebody who can like even take like being introspective into consideration, because that's something that I was like never really like, you know, privy of before, or like I never really like took notice of that, you know what I mean, especially like in myself. And I want to say that like that was a lot of what had helped me, you know, and I think that's involved a lot again in like my purpose of being here, is that, you know, now I'm able to, you know, like teach somebody that, like, I'm able to raise somebody and like actually instill like those values into somebody, and much less a young man that's going to be able to grow into you know, an adult who's going to like actually
an amazing man.
Yeah, like I really feel like that did me a lot of justice. And you know, again, like when I was able to like wake up and actually, you know, take the time to like think about, you know, what's real and who is real and stuff in my life, it was like, wow, like, you know, that a lot of stuff, a lot of like what you did helped me out, man. And it's like I think a lot of people will take social media and they'll take you know, the internet and try to dumb it down and make it as if, you know, if like we haven't met in real life, or if we haven't, you know, been, you know, with each other for 30 days or whatever, or like went to high school together or whatever, that, you know, we're not real genuine friends. But I would argue that, and I would use us as like an example, you know what I mean? Like I would say that, you know, real friendship can definitely develop out of like you know, thin blue air. Like you wouldn't even like really imagine that it's gonna happen or whatever. But you know, I think when you do,
oh, it's gonna be gagging when they see me pushing that stroller with my nephew in it.
Honestly though, like
I'm gonna be gagging. I'm gonna be gagging.
But yeah, man, I really do think that, you know, social media relationships, it can be a thing. But again, I'll go back to what I said at the beginning of the live. I think it takes two genuine, you know, and it's real hard to like measure somebody's realness, you know, other than like time. You know, you had said it earlier too, like time is a great teller, like, you know, of like how a relationship is even going to be, you know. So, you know, I just think that you know, a lot of people just have to probably just be careful, you know, and be cautious. But at the same time, you know, you have to allow the space to like be yourself and be, somewhat vulnerable, so I do hear you on that. It's a lot. It's a lot to digest.
It is. It's a lot. It is.
But yeah, it's a conversation that's needed for sure.
Yeah, sure. No, I thank you for being here. Thank you for having this dialogue. I am so appreciative of you just as a person, and I look forward to the next chapters. And you always gonna have my support, and you're always in my prayers, and I just appreciate you immensely. And I just hope you know that you have contributed equally to me as you're saying that I have to you as well. It is damn sure reciprocal. So,
man, it's gonna be much more. Now we're gonna be looking at 10 years of
for sure.
You know what I mean? And like you said, it be a point in time to where we are sitting back at Myrtle Beach and shit, like I said. So
I'm looking forward. I need a fucking vacation. I need the beach in my life. So I am here for it. I'm looking forward, and I'll be there.
Hell yeah.
All right, we get your ass to sleep. Go take your ass back to your pregnant girl. Tell Raven I said hello. I cannot believe we are 9 days in the wait. This is just fucking nuts. I feel like we're on a dating show, and this is the last episode, and it's down to 2 contestants. Like, my anxiety is running. Like, who the fuck want to get a clock? I just can't believe that window has shrunk from 9 months to just 9 fucking days. With 9 days, that's crazy as fuck. But I'm excited.
Crazy. No, it's actually
that is fucking crazy. It's crazy. But I look forward to the news. I look forward to the entrance of a king into the world. And you make sure you send me all the goddamn pictures. I want all the bloody. Yeah. I want to see the umbilical cord attached to the knockout media.
Yeah, no, you'll definitely see. But yeah, man. All right, I'll see you.
Get your ass out of here. I would text and harass your ass tomorrow.
All right.
All right, bye. That was Knockout, you guys. The ins and outs of social media relationships, man. It's not an easy road, And hey, I can't even totally gag and roast all the relationships that we have seen come and go online, because it is a jungle. It is hard to navigate. No lie. It is not easy to navigate. There's a lot of complexities to navigating friendships that also are visible by way of the internet. It's a lot of moving parts. And more interestingly enough, this is new to a lot of us. We're the first generation of social media users, so we don't have a blueprint, So for those who are surviving that, and for those of us who have created and found very special people and very special things amongst each other, like, literally, we are the exception to the rule right now. And that's what also drives my appreciation even more for the people that I've been able to really form a meaningful relationship to beyond the confinement of the internet. I don't make any distinctions between the friends that I met by way of virtual reality and the friends that I grew up with. There is no distinction. It's real love. It's real faithfulness. It's blood. Heart is wide open. It's real vulnerability. It's real smiles. It's real frowns. It's all real. It's all authentic. And that's something that's definitely not going to happen all the time, and most people are probably worth not knowing. But every now and again, something magical happens. Toya says, a beautiful sight that would be to see CTV walking down the streets with the Carrington, Brazilian blowout, pushing the baby stroller, baby. Y'all know I'm gonna give it to y'all. A Knockout and Raven have a vacation coming up soon with baby Knockout. So I will be joining them. You guys will be seeing us together. Yeah, I'm really grateful. And they say, all things worth having are worth fighting for. So, in the words of Life Jennings, honey, when you find something real and find something good, you put forth that effort. And the good definitely outweighs the bad. I definitely think a lot more people need to check in their relationships. Don't be afraid. And first of all, don't assume that people are happy with you. Don't assume that you don't have nothing to work on. Don't assume that people are satisfied. Like, you got to check in with people and ask them, hey, are you good? Are you happy? Is there anything that I could do better at, etc.? And because all relationships, they require that work. I think relationships go sour. I think sparks get burnt out. I think that a relationship becomes more susceptible to breakdown when people are not doing their maintenance. And I think friendships are more prone to break down, even probably more so than romantic relationships, because it doesn't seem like there is much of an incentive to be as maintenancing. We just make a lot of assumptions when it comes to our family ships and our friendships. We get real comfortable. We get real complacent. And we forget that no matter how strong of a situation it is, no matter how long, it doesn't matter how much a relationship, a friendship, a family ship has been through, that once again, it's still a relationship. And human beings have needs, and all relationships require the same thing: time, love, and affection. Oh, I always gonna be always gratitude, because I am a relationship person. I'm a people person. This new era is very terrifying, because it seems like people are just becoming the Walking Dead. So it's very heartbreaking to me, because I think just the dynamics socially are changing, and the rules of engagement are changing, and social media is changing. I think I told y'all before that I'm actually thinking about unfollowing everybody who I know personally on social media, because I don't want to be informed by social media, about how people in my life are doing, what they up to. Because once again, I'm sitting here talking about maintenance and how relationships need to be you need to be able to touch people that you love. You need that interaction. And I think that social media puts a lot of distance between people. People feel like they already kind of know what's up when they're following you. And I just want to continue to have my relationships feel really real to me. And I don't want to know what you're eating or where you're going or what you're doing by seeing it in a post on Facebook or Snapchat, or I don't want to communicate, to somebody who I'm connected to personally in a comment section. So I'm thinking about just unfollowing everybody I know personally, so that I have an incentive to actually continue to call, continue to pull the fuck up, put that space in between me and the people that I know personally, to where we miss each other, because that missing creates a remembrance of each other. I don't want to be in a situation where I feel like strangers are showing up for me more than the people that I know personally. but social media can just cause a casualness there that ends up kind of being a detriment, to your real life situation. So I'm really determined to not let social media cloud up my connections. So I'm probably going to be making a phone call next week, or this week technically. It's now 12 midnight, and just letting everybody know, hey, it's not personal. If anything, you're probably about to see a lot more of my ass because I'm going to be unfollowing everybody who I know personally, family, friends, etc. Because I want to have a reason to want to actually reach out and to touch the people in my life. So going to stay connected. And I love y'all. I got to get out of here. I will see y'all tomorrow because we got a lot of shit to get into. Make sure that you guys thumbs up, share, subscribe, do all of that good jazz. And I will see you all later. Bye.